Today, I'm going to talk about microaggressions. I'm sure people have heard the term microaggression. What is a microaggression? One definition is that it's a statement or action or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group, such as a racial or ethnic minority. Microaggressions aren't always blatant, but often subtle and can confuse the target. Think about how many times in your life that you've thought to yourself, this person just doesn't like me very much. But it's not based on any one thing or one thing that they said or obvious insult or even name calling. Many times in my life, I have described someone as being racist, for example. People will say to me, well, what did they say or do? As if it had to be something that had to be brazen and obvious. The microaggression didn't have to come from a brazen verbal attack. In many cases, I smelled the scent of racism based on their sarcasm, their use of humor to make a joke at my expense. Sometimes they were dismissive of my negative feelings about something, or when I expressed that I was hurt by something. Their response was, "Oh, you're being too sensitive."
Or, come on, I was only joking.
Yes, gaslighting is a good friend of microaggressions. In some cases, the perpetrator does not feel comfortable expressing their true feelings, so they use humor as a camouflage, or they roll their eyes maybe in a meeting when another person is speaking. Or in some cases, they don't show up for the meeting, or they're late for the meeting, and then they say, "Oh, I forgot." That can be a subtle form of hostility or aggression. Now, in some cases, microaggressions are committed totally by accident, just like vehicle accidents. Most people don't get up in the morning thinking, you know what, I want to go get in my car and cause a 5-car pileup on the freeway. It's an accident. Just like most people don't get up in the morning thinking, I can't wait to get to work so I can insult my coworker. In these cases, often ignorance or lack of knowledge are the culprit. I recently consulted on a case where a white woman referred to her black coworker as girl. The black woman said, "I don't know this woman, and she doesn't know me, so why is she calling me girl?" Another form of microaggressions is invalidating another person's feelings. For example, many people of color are offended by Confederate flags and statues. For them, Confederate symbols are associated with slavery. For someone to maintain that, well, they're just part of history, it's like a known criminal whose criminal acts are being ignored because in their spare time, they helped out at the YMCA or they gave a lot of money to charity. So how do you call out microaggressions? Understandably, people can be very nervous about calling out microaggressions. But if the problem is not addressed, the behavior will likely continue and your silence will give the target of the microaggression the idea that it's no big deal. Or because you might have personal blind spots, you don't even see it as a microaggression. But ignoring the problem is like ignoring the first symptoms of an infection. It doesn't go away, but it remains in the body and does further, more serious damage. For a company, this can destroy staff unity, increase turnover, and even result in lawsuits. So here's some suggestions. Talk to the offender in private. Focus on their behavior and not the person. Focus on their actions. What did they do? Don't make judgments about what kind of person they are. So you suspend judgment. You don't make assumptions about what even motivated them to say or do what they did. Ask open-ended questions like, hey, what were you thinking when you said that to Martha? Or why did you use that particular term? What do you know about that particular term that you used in the meeting? So give the employee background information on terms and sayings and slang and how they are used, and then they can understand why certain words or certain actions can be considered offensive, especially when you're interacting with someone from a different culture, a different age demographic, or even a different sexual orientation than yourself. And that's it for microaggressions today. Thanks for listening.